Research shows Gen X is currently the most stressed generation in American history. That's not a feeling. That's data. They are simultaneously caring for aging parents and supporting adult children who aren't ready to leave. Psychologists call this the sandwich generation trap. But here's what nobody tells you. This exhaustion wasn't an accident. It was built into who Gen X was raised to be, which means the bone-deep tiredness that sleep never fixes is not weakness. It is a predictable result of a generation handed 2 lifetimes of responsibility at once. My name is David, and if that exhaustion sounds familiar, it's time someone finally explained why. Let me walk through a day with you. Not a dramatic day, just an ordinary one. You wake up and before your feet hit the floor, you are already thinking about your parent. Did they sleep okay? Do they need their medication? Is that appointment this week or next week? Should you call this morning? Or will that seem like you are checking up on them? You call anyway, because you always call anyway. And then your kids, the school thing, the friend thing, the mood thing that has been going on for 2 weeks that you have not had enough time to sit with properly. The college application or the homework or the argument from last night that never got fully resolved because you ran out of time and energy before you ran out of things that needed addressing. And then work, and the house, and the bills, and the parent again because something came up, and the kid again because something always comes up, and somewhere in the middle of all of that, you disappear. Not dramatically, not all at once, just gradually, quietly, almost imperceptibly. The part of the day that was supposed to belong to you gets borrowed, and then borrowed again, and then it is gone entirely, and you are not even sure when it happened. You eat lunch standing up, if you eat at all. You answer the question, how are you doing with fine, because fine is the fastest answer, and you do not have time for the real one. You forget what you wanted. You forget what you enjoyed. You forget, on some days, what it felt like to be a person, and not just a function, a caregiver, a parent, a child, a provider, everything to everyone. And somewhere in between all of that, you forgot to exist as yourself. Every generation faces hard seasons. Every generation gets squeezed by life in ways that feel impossible at the time. But the sandwich generation burden, the specific, particular, relentless weight of caring for aging parents while raising children while trying to maintain some version of yourself, lands differently on Gen X. And there's a reason for that. Gen X was raised on self-sufficiency, not as a philosophy, not as a choice, as a survival skill. You came home to empty houses. You figured things out alone. You learned early that the world was not going to soften itself for you, and that needing help was, at best, inconvenient, and at worst, a sign of weakness. Nobody taught you to ask for help. Nobody modeled what it looked like to say, "This is too much. I cannot do this alone. I need support." They modeled the opposite. They showed you how to keep going, how to handle it, how to be fine even when fine was the furthest thing from the truth. And so you became extraordinarily capable, remarkably self-sufficient, the person everyone could count on, because you have been counting on yourself since you were 12 years old. And now, in this season of life when the weight is genuinely, objectively, measurably too heavy for one person, that old training kicks in. Handle it. Figure it out. Don't complain. Don't ask for more than you need. Don't burden anyone with what you are carrying. So you carry it alone, in silence, and the silence makes it heavier than it already was. There's a term psychologists use, compassion fatigue. It sounds clinical. It sounds like something that happens to nurses and social workers and emergency responders, people in helping professions who absorb other people's pain as part of their job description. But it does not only happen to professionals. It happens to anyone who gives care, real, sustained, emotionally present care, over a long period of time without receiving enough care in return. It happens to the person who drives their parent to every doctor's appointment, manages their medications, handles their finances, sits with their fear about what is coming, while simultaneously managing a household and raising children and showing up to work and try to hold together a marriage or a friendship or just some small piece of their own life. It happens to you. And here's what compassion fatigue actually does. Not just the tiredness. Everybody knows about the tiredness, but what it does underneath the tiredness. It numbs you, slowly, gradually, as a form of self-protection. Your ability to feel begins to quiet down. The emotions that used to come easily start requiring more effort to access. The things that used to bring you joy start feeling flat. The connections that used to feel meaningful start feeling like one more thing to manage. You are not depressed exactly. You are not broken exactly. You are depleted. The well has been drawn from so many times, for so long, by so many people, that there is almost nothing left at the bottom. And in that depletion, quietly, without anyone noticing, without you even fully noticing, you start to disappear. Not physically. You are still there, still showing up, still handling it. But the you behind the function, the person, not the caregiver, starts becoming harder to find. Can I name something that lives underneath all of this? Something heavier than the exhaustion. Something that makes the exhaustion harder to bear. Guilt. It is always there. Quiet, persistent, completely unreasonable, and completely real. You visit your parent, and on the drive home, you're already thinking about what you should have done differently. You should have stayed longer. You should have asked more questions. You should have noticed the thing you didn't notice until it was too late. You are not doing enough. No matter how much you are doing, it is not enough. It is never enough. And then your kids, the guilt about your kids, is its own particular weight. Because you can feel in moments of honest reckoning that they are not getting the best of you. They are getting what is left. The tired version, the distracted version, the version that says yes in a minute, and sometimes that minute never comes. And you carry that every single day. And then there is the guilt about yourself. The life you are not living because you are living this one. The dreams you quietly set aside. The friendships you let thin out because there was no time. The person you wanted to be that keeps getting postponed. And the guilt about the guilt. Because who are you to feel guilty when your parents need care and your children need you and people have it so much harder and you should be grateful? The guilt loops on itself. It has no bottom. And underneath all the capable, handling it fine, it just keeps going. Quietly, heavily, all the time. Nobody prepared you for this grief. Not the grief that comes with a loss you can name and point to and explain to people at a funeral. Not that kind. This grief is quieter, more complicated, harder to justify to anyone who asks why you seem heavy lately. You are watching your parents become smaller, not the people they were, but the bodies they inhabit. The mind that used to be sharp is slower now. The person who was the authority in your childhood, the one who had all the answers, the one who held everything together. They need you to hold things together now. And you do. Of course you do. You show up. You manage. You handle. But in the quiet moments, in the car on the way home, in the bathroom in the morning, in the 3 a.m. darkness when nobody needs anything for a few hours, you grieve who they were. You grieve what is coming. You grieve the parent you still need, even as you become the parent to your parent. And at the same time, from the other side, your children are leaving. Not all at once. Gradually, the way they always do. Needing you less. Building lives of their own. Growing in the exact direction you always hoped they would grow. And you are proud. Completely, genuinely, deeply proud. And you are grieving. Both things. Simultaneously. In the same chest. In the same quiet moments. The loss of who your parents were. The loss of who your children needed you to be. And no one really talks about this. No one warns you that this particular season holds this particular grief. So you carry it alone. The way you carry everything. I want to offer you something. Not advice. Not a to-do list. Not a 5-step plan for managing caregiver burnout. Just a truth. A simple one. That somehow never quite reaches the people who need it most. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You have probably heard that before. It is the thing people say to caregivers who are running on empty. Take care of yourself so you can take care of others. Put your own oxygen mask on first. And there is truth in it. Real truth. But I want to go further than that. Because here is what that framing still gets wrong. It still makes your self-care about your usefulness to others. It still says, fill your cup so you can keep pouring for everyone else. And that is not enough. You deserve to have a cup that is filled, not because it makes you a better caregiver, Not because it increases your capacity to serve the people who need you, but because you are a person, a full, complete, irreducible human person. Not just a function, not just a role, not just a thing that stands between your family and the chaos. A person who has needs, who has a life that matters beyond what it produces for others, who has a right to care, real, sustained, genuine care, not as a reward for enough sacrifice, not as a prize for perfect caregiving, but simply as a fact of being human. Psychologist Kristen Neff has spent her career studying self-compassion, and what she found is both simple and profound. The people who can sustain care for others over the long term, the ones who do not disappear into giving, are the ones who have learned to turn even a fraction of that care toward themselves. Not selfishly, not at the expense of the people who need them, just enough, just barely enough, to remain a person. And that, for Gen X, for the sandwich generation, for the one who has been carrying two worlds without complaint, that is not weakness. That is the bravest, most necessary thing left to learn. I want to leave you with something. After everything we have sat with today, the exhaustion, the guilt, the grief, the slow disappearance of yourself inside the weight of everything you carry, I want to say something that I am not sure anyone has said to you directly in a long time, maybe ever. You have done something remarkable. In the middle of your own life, your own needs, your own fears, your own unanswered questions about who you are and what you still want and where all this is going, you showed up for your parents, for your children, for everyone who needed the strong one. You showed up every day, even on the days when showing up cost you something you could not afford to lose. And that is real. That matters. That counts for something that no amount of gratitude will ever fully acknowledge. But, and this is the part one needs you to hear. So, dear, not after your parents are settled, not after your children are launched, not after the season finally shifts and someone gives you permission to exhale. Now, you matter now, in this season, in this body, in this exhausted, depleted, still showing up life. The you that exists beyond the caregiving, beyond the function, beyond the role, that person, the full complicated human being who's been quietly waiting while everyone else got taken care of, has waited long enough. You have been strong for so long. It is okay, it is more than okay, to be a little something else now, a little tired, a little honest, a little in need of the same care you have given so freely to everyone around you. You were never just a caregiver. You were always a person first. And that person is still here, still worth knowing, still worth caring for, starting now.